Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Racket ASMR with Eric, the racket scientist. I know it's been a while, and I have a reason for that. So in the last episode, you know that I was still, I had just gotten over the flu, and so I had a cough for a while. So I still have a little bit of that cough. So if you think I sound weird, it's probably because I'm eating a cough drop, and you're just gonna have to kind of live with that. And the other reason is because I went on a snowboard trip, and while I was walking around after I finished snowboarding, I slipped and fell, and I fractured one or two of my ribs. So that kind of sucked, and also decreased my motivation to make videos. And finally, but most importantly, it's been really cold here in Seattle. It's regularly been between like 20 and 30 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like below freezing outside. And my kitchen here is downstairs, and while it's not freezing, it's pretty cold down here compared to the rest of my house. And so it's just kind of annoying to like get set up and do the things I want to do. The only reason I'm doing a video today on the racket that you see here is because I want to play with this racket today, and I think it's kind of a waste to go through the process without making a video on it. So here we are. Hopefully it warms up a little bit in the future, and I can get back to my regular cadence. It's not like I don't have rackets to work on. It's just I've been kind of lazy. So as you can see, this the undergrip has already been taken off of this racket because it is obviously not a new racket. So what we have here is a classic Voltric 80. This is a Taiwan code. And as you can see, it's definitely not in perfect condition. It's got, a few chips here and there. There's some over here. There's a few over here and whatever. Some scratches on the head. But that's fine because I've actually never owned one of these rackets, and if I have played with one in the past, it hasn't really been for often. So, I've always been curious about this, especially since I own a Voltric 80 E-Tune, and I forget what country code this is. This might be a US code. But I've always been curious to compare this to the original Voltric 80. So I finally had the opportunity to buy one at a reasonable price off of a friend. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do today. And as you can see, we have a little bit of work to do. The handle's, it's a bit fuzzy. So this might take a little bit of work to get off. And if you're hearing any background noise, that's my space heater, which I pointed directly at my chair here so I wouldn't be as cold. You may also notice that I didn't set up my usual lighting because I was lazy. So in general, this is like kind of a low effort video. Like, hopefully it'll just be short, and I just want to be done with it just because like I don't want to be down here that much because it's cold. Okay, easy. All right, so first let's hit this with a wipe and just see how easily this comes off. It's probably not going to come off that easily, but we're just going to try it anyways. And while I'm doing that, I don't know if you can hear the difference. I'm also using a different mic today. I'm still using the wireless mic like I was using last time, but I'm using what's called a, how do you pronounce it, lavalier? Like a lav mic attachment. So yeah, we'll see if it actually sounds good or not. Okay. So this is kind of weird. These, I think what's happened is that this adhesive has been on here so long. So the fuzzy stuff is actually coming off, and the this rubber residue is kind of coming off, but the adhesive underneath has been here for so long, it's almost like hardened or solidified, which is like kind of weird. So I think we are going to have to bring in some bigger guns here. Move that out of the way. And I'm going to try not to talk too much in this video because it makes my coughing worse. So for all of you, if you're one of those guys in the comments who's just like, oh, he takes too fucking long to like make these videos, like imagine taking 40-50 minutes to grip a racket. Okay, well, first of all, I'm sorry for your rackets that you don't love them as much as I love mine. But I hope you will at least be able to appreciate that. I'm going to try to make this one fast. Not that I really give a shit in the first place. So, yeah, I mean, you know, no need to project your inadequacies and your lack of reception of human affection onto your rackets, right? Like, if people like spending time maintaining their rackets and taking care of them, like, let them do that. It's fine. You don't have to do that too. But like, you know, just because I love my rackets more than your parents love you doesn't mean that you have to share with the class. So before I started doing this, I had the chance to compare my Voltric 80E tune to this one. I kind of held them side by side and looked at the details. And I think nowadays we're very used to the predecessors being, I guess what I would say, significantly different than the succeeding rackets. Some examples of that would be like Arc Saber 11 to Arc Saber 11 Pro have been very different. And you know, the 88D series, all generations have been very different as well. I can't tell if this is actually coming off or not. It's like so hardened. Need something rougher. Hard and rough. It's exactly what she's asking for. Whether or not you can give her that is a different story. So I held these two rackets side by side, and man, I remember reading through forums about these rackets and people saying that they, you know, they did feel quite different. And based on that, I was expecting them to have maybe significantly different specs or whatever. But they, you know, it turns out that they look pretty similar in that they have almost the exact same head shape. Actually, I will say, I'm just going to go on a limb and say it is the exact same head shape. The frame looks almost exactly the same from the, like, you know, dimensions wise. I don't know what's going on the inside there. And the, like, you know, all the grommets are generally in the same place as well. So there's, you know, there's no different or strange grommet spacing, like kind of 88S and D from first to second generation. And the shaft length appears to be the same too. Although I haven't been able to comment on the stiffness yet, so I think probably I will figure out more about that when I actually get the racket on court. Okay, much more quiet. I probably should wash this. This is like really gross. Okay, we're gonna clean that up later. Again, this might take a while because this adhesive is very old and like it is coming off. It's just taking longer to dissolve since it's like hardened and crystallized. Okay, yeah, it's being a mess. So I haven't played with my Voltric A E-Tune in a long time, but I will say that in my collection of 50 rackets, it is one of the most head heavy. I think weighing in at the balance point of, I want to say 308. It's not quite 310. And the only more head heavy racket in my collection, or maybe the only two, I'm not sure. One of them is Voltric Z-Force 2, which kind of makes sense. And the other, which I don't remember if it actually is more head heavy, is my Brave Sword 10 LTD Pro, which is a very whimsical one. Yeah, the main problem here is that I just have these alcohol wipes and I don't actually know if I have bottled isopropyl alcohol. Actually, I guess I could go look. I'll go look after I use up this wipe. Because I really should have that. So isopropyl and Glugon are like kind of two of the safest things that you can use, because not only is it generally safe on untreated wood, and note that the handles in badminton rackets is untreated wood, so you know they don't have a sort of oil or lacquer on them. Whereas isopropyl alcohol can be corrosive in a way that strips that coating. So like, you know, don't use it on your like nice coffee table or whatever. I've also read that like acetone and vinegar are good solvents that could be used for getting stuff off of untreated wood. So you can try to use those. Notably diluted vinegar. Don't just go pouring vinegar on your racket handle. Acetone nail polish remover. That one's a little more caustic, so you want to be careful with that. And the reason I'm kind of cautioning against that is because, well, we know it's pretty well documented that it's safe for wood, but we don't know if it's actually safe on the paint of the racket. So like, you know, if you're not careful, you actually accidentally get it onto the body of the racket, then you might strip some of the coloring or paint. We don't really want to do that. That would be an interesting experiment, you know, to do with like a broken racket, just like see what kind of stuff like actually works, like stripping the paint or whatever. Yeah, that being said, it's relatively well documented what will and won't work on untreated wood. So, because you know, woodworking is an art that's thousands of years old. Definitely working, definitely taking a long time. All right, I think we're nearing the end game here. You can see it looks a lot better. All right, we're just gonna, a few more rounds. Okay, well, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. And I think, like visually, it doesn't look very good probably, but in terms of how it feels to me under yeah, so visually you can see still a lot of what looks like grime, but it's actually very smooth to the touch. I don't know if I can get the light to reflect off of it. I mean, even if not, that's fine. But you're just gonna have that, like it's gonna have, especially if it's an older racket, you're gonna have a lot of discoloration. And here's my electrical tape. Right, I'm gonna use this to sticky roll it, get some of that fuzz off. Whoopsies. And that's and that's how you find out you miss some spots. If you do electrical tape and then you see like a lump under it. So I was wrapping this and I noticed that you can see that actually. Come on, focus. Yeah. Nope. Yep. There's a little bump there, and sure enough, there's a little lump of old adhesive that I didn't scrape off. So just remember that it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, a lot of times it's never going to be perfect. But as long as it's good enough or beautiful enough for you, then that's all that really matters. That's kind of what they mean by beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Whew, that was a tough one. It's very nice. We finally get to the fun part. These older handles are nice before they made them super long, because you don't have to do the guesswork of like stretching out the grip to fill the handle length. Anyways, yeah, so that was a fun one, and thanks for joining me. I am excited to play with these a little bit tonight, not too much, but a little bit. Oh, another difference I forgot to point out, probably the most obvious one. The original Voltric 80 doesn't have any special grommets or anything, but the Voltric 80 E-Tune was known for having this weird corner grommet. I assume to have some influence on aerodynamics, but also probably for head weight. So we'll see. I'll try to take these out into the court, test them, even though they're probably significantly different tensions. But, you know, it's all casual. Anyways, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.